Good afternoon, music world. John here from What's Spinning. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to be reviewing the new James Blake record tomorrow, and I'm very excited to do so. But for today, I figured it would be a great chance to sort of do a deep dive on his discography and talk about what his music has meant to me over the years, how my opinions have changed on James's music over the years as well. And for this list, I'm sticking to his studio albums, his full-length albums, not nearly his awesome set of early EPs, etc. And as always, ground rule, this is all just opinion, folks, so let's just have some fun with it. So at number 7, I'm going to kick this list off with 2024's band Cameo with Lil Yachty. I mean, this is going to sound crazy. I'm actually a pretty big fan of both of these artists, especially Lil Yachty. I feel like the man doesn't get enough credit, but this collaboration to me, it's an odd one. This is one that just, I don't know, I feel like it just needed to be put out on paper a little bit more. This doesn't really come off like two creative minds really fueling each other and pushing themselves to try new things. This just sounds like two bros hanging out, hitting the record button and see what happens and praying that it's okay. And, you know, atmospherically, this album does have some cool moments. It's very beautiful at points. I do appreciate the Woo single. But outside of that, though, I've listened to this record a few times now, and there's not that much that's grabbing to me about it. Like, I've listened to it a few times. I can't really tell you the first thing about it. The atmosphere is nice at points. The production sounds great, but that's about it. Now, at number 6, I'm going to push forward with 2021's Friends That Break Your Heart. Yeah, this is one that's never really clicked with me from James. And from a distance, this album seems, you know, totally fine, like all systems are go. It's very lush, it's very springy, it's very beautiful. It's sunny, it's incredibly emotional, and for some reason, it's never really clicked with me. For one, I feel like James's songwriting on this record is far from his best. Also, a lot of the themes just seem a little flimsy here, but my biggest issue with this record is the consistency of it. Like, there's a lot going on this record, and there's a lot of weird choices. There's some good choices too. Coming Back featuring SZA is great. So Glad You're Mine is awesome. But there's also a lot of tracks here that are awkward and just don't really stick once they've left. I've never been that crazy about it. Now, at number 5, I'm going to put 2016's The Color in Anything. My thoughts on this record over the years have fluctuated. When it first dropped, I thought it was a stroke of brilliance. It was actually a shortlist for one of my honorable mentions for Album of the Year. And I don't want to rag on it completely because there is some great material here. Not only that, but this just sounds like the next logical step after James's first 2 releases. Radio Silence is awesome. I Need a Forest Fire featuring Bon Iver is awesome. But over the years, this album at points has bored me more and more. It's not a bad record, but James tries a lot of things here. And let me tell you, lengthwise, this is a beefy album. Not only that, but some of these ideas, they are just but ugly, but I do appreciate the whimsical atmosphere, and, you know, like I said, there's some moments of sheer brilliance here. You might enjoy it more than me. Just realize I think the man's done a lot better. Now, at number 4, I'm going to put 2019's Assume Form. You know, I feel like this album doesn't get enough credit, and it just does not get the respect it deserves in James's discography. While The Color in Anything was a hodgepodge of ideas, and some of them just did not really click into place, a lot of those ideas come back on Assume Form and sound a lot more thought out. Now, this is a big sort of shifting point in James's discography. By this point, his production chops made him much more of a household name. As a matter of fact, he was also doing a lot more collaborations with hip-hop artists, which pop up here. And a lot of it comes off really nicely. The Rosalia ballad, Barefoot in the Park, is absolutely crushing. And Mile High, his psych trap banger with Travis Scott, after all these years, still goes pretty hard. And there are a couple of awkward moments here. You know, this album is bookended by some pretty rough tracks. But overall, a lot of the material here, it's either good to great. Now, at number 3, I'm going to put 2013's Overgrown, his sophomore album. Compared to his self-titled debut, this album is a lot more of a traditional R&B album, and that's not a bad thing. This album has always seemed to me to be like the next logical step after that self-titled debut. It has such a great set of very lush ballads. James's vocals throughout this entire project are immaculate, but also the very cold, unforgiving atmosphere and the themes of loneliness in the digital age from his debut record come over greatly to this second album of his. The production, while not as experimental as his debut, still has that whimsical nature to it. Not only that, but Life Round Here and Retrograde are two of the best singles that he's ever put out. Really great record. Now, this may come as a surprise, but at number 2, I'm putting 2023's Playing Robots into Heaven. Oh, hell yeah, this is a great James Blake project. Around the time that this record dropped, I was kind of out on James, just of how boring the Friends That Break Your Heart record was, for me at least. But what I didn't expect was for James to go back to his incredibly experimental roots in such a big way. This is a major departure for James and one of the most fantastically obtuse records in his discography. This is a sample-filled and genuinely freakish record where you don't really know what's going to happen next. It's cold, it's lonely. James's vocals sounds like, I don't know, like cries for help in a world where computers have taken over. This album just gets more and more haunted emotionally with each passing moment. And all of it is immaculately produced. It's not an easy listen by any means, but if you really want to hear James flexing his production chops and trying some new things, it's a really great record. Which of course leads me to my favorite James Blake record, and I'm going with 2011's self-titled James Blake record. One of my favorite debut albums of all time and one of my favorite records of all time. This is such a fascinating record to dive into and an easy one to come back for second listens to. From a distance, it sounds like an old school true blue soul record. And if you break it down, that's exactly what it is, but just one that's delivered a very different way. I mean, right from the get-go, James just seemed like on another level as far as experimentation and production stance. And it's a challenging record. For every incredible vocal performance that you get from James, you're going to get an off-kilter beat or a weird production choice that may be a little tough to wrap your head around. The Wilhelm scream is great, and Limit to Your Love is absolutely chilling. And on top of all that, it's a major statement. It is one of the coldest and loneliest records of this time period, and that's saying something. Not only that, but I just think it's James's best project. But what do you all think about his discography? I'll be dropping my review to his latest album and letting you know where it fits in my rankings tomorrow. But until then, let me know what your ranks of his discography are looking like. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you're feeling froggy, hit those notifications and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.